High on a bank of the Au Sable River near Grayling, Michigan, on a stretch of the stream known to a legion of fly fishermen as the Holy Water, sits a beautiful and imposing log compound known as Au Sable. This property was privately owned for many years, but was eventually deeded to Michigan State University and has since become a biological research station and educational conference center. Kevin Gardiner has been the live-in property manager for the last 30 years. He's the third generation of his family to live here as caretaker and property steward. Kevin is also related to the first caretaker, Leon Stefan, as well as to Reuben Babbitt, an early settler and woodsman who built part of the compound in 1897. Reuben later became one of Michigan's first wildlife conservation officers. Kevin has devoted nearly his entire adult life living at Au Sable in Michigan's beautiful North Country. We asked him about Au Sable's history and how he feels about the unique experience that he's had there.
How it started, we're in the original building. And the original building was built in 1880 by Chief David Shopnagon. And he was a Chippewa Indian chief, and he settled around right in Grayling, right about where Ray's the old fly factory. I always call it Ray's Canoe Livery, but it's the old fly factory. And he built this building that we're in currently in 1880 with the Knight brothers. But he was an Indian guide. He taught a lot of the young men to fish and hunt around Grayling. Everybody loved him. He was legendary. He had remedies for health, and he guided a lot of the wealthy men from Toledo, Chicago, Detroit in fishing. But he didn't like drinking and he didn't like swearing. Norville said if he heard men swear or drink too much, he'd remind them that they'd go straight to hell if they kept that up, and it'd scare them. He'd scare them. But he was wonderful, and he lived to be allegedly 103, 104 years old. And the Knights owned it from 1880 until, I want to say, 1897, that's it. And there was 5 owners: Fuller, Giroux, Secor, Bell, and Oswald Richardson. They drew straws. When the women and children started coming up along in about 1915 or so, then they started getting into timeshares and that. And then, everybody liked to come up in June for the hex hatch, or, I don't know what they called it then, but, and the hatches in May, they wanted those times. And they got into arguments about it. So they drew straws, and the ones that had the losing straws had to move on. And 2 won the winning straws, and that was Secor and Bell. And at that time, that was in 1919. And my great-great-uncle Leon Stefan was the first caretaker. And he and his wife, Pansy Farah Stefan, were the first caretakers. And they lived in that small kitchen with 5 daughters. 5 daughters. And if you look at the pictures of him, he was a chief riverboat guide. And when I was younger, and I had my beard and he had his beard, it's amazing how much he looked I looked just like him, My grandparents ran this for the Stranahan and Bell family since September 1st, 1945. My grandfather built log homes on the Sable River for Maple Island Log Homes. My grandmother was a home economist for Crawford County. And then they worked for the Bells and Stranahans. And they loved it. These people were wonderful, and the experience was wonderful. And then They worked here up until 1961, and then my parents, my dad was a foreman at BASF in Wyandotte, Michigan, and along when he turned about 40, he was looking for other opportunities, and they decided to come north, and when my grandparents retired here in 61, and take over. And at that time, did Stranahan, Mrs. Stranahan, Virginia Secor Stranahan said, Evelyn, get your family out of Wyandotte, come north and work for me. And they did, and thank God. I was about 6 years old then, 1961. And you talk about a great life. You had the Au Sable River at your front door, 300 acres, as opposed to a 75-foot lot on 17th and Cedar in Wyandotte. It was just wonderful. Grayling's a great place to live and grow up. People are wonderful. And then here, the life was grand. Mom was a township treasurer, Grayling Township treasurer. Dad, interior, exterior house painted on the side. And we lived here from 1961 to 1981. And at that point, I went to Kirkland. I got my associates at Kirkland. And then I worked for the DNR. I did stream bank improvement work with the Au Sable River, worked with the DNR. Wonderful work, too. And then along around 1981, Mrs. Stranahan, 1980, Mrs. Stranahan was very concerned about Wawasum and its future, and Mr. Bell as well, Frank Bell. And Mrs. Stranahan in particular was worried about the property and subdividing and what would happen with the buildings and that sort of thing. She was going to give it to Nature Conservancy. That was her main plan. But Nature Conservancy was not concerned about the buildings. They were talking about flattening the buildings. So she researched and checked around, and she thought about Bowling Green, where she was a trustee at Bowling Green University in Bowling Green, Ohio. And it didn't set quite as well as with Michigan State. Her son George Stranahan was with the cyclotron lab at MSU, and that impressed her. And then also Keith Grody, the employee relations director at MSU, made a very good impression on her, as well as Dr. Ray White in the MSU Fisheries and Wildlife Department. And they went to see her a couple times, and Keith Grody, I believe, was also National Director of Federation of Fly Fishermen. And they told her of what they would like to do with Wawasum, what kind of research they'd have here, and having retreats and organized meetings with educational agenda, and that just cinched it. She just said, yes, this is what I want. This is my dream for the place. And so after negotiation with her lawyer, Louise Jackson, and it took a year or two of wrangling and that, on November 26, 1980, they did the deed and it was signed over. And so it's been 33 years now. And Mrs. Stranahan would be so proud. MSU has done so well. We've got research at the bullpen and guides cabin. It's excellent research. And it's not just MSU, it's Purdue, it's Ohio State, it's Wayne State. You know, it's studies on trout, not only trout, rattlesnakes, deer, all sorts of good research is coming out of the place. And then we have excellent retreats, all sorts of MSU research and retreats, all sorts of trout unlimited groups. The Kirkland Warbler, the numbers are really up. And we have the Kirkland Warbler program. We've been housing the Kirkland Warbler students for the past 15 years now. And between that and rattlesnake study with Purdue, the forestry studies. We've had a lot of forestry work in the last 5 years. They come in and study after a forest fire has come through. This forestry work is like why the jack pine regenerates so and no other trees are coming in, and how this helps the Kirkland warbler, that sort of thing. A lot of them are doing trout research because we're on the mainstream of the Au Sable, and they're just finding out the populations and what's happening with them. And research is ongoing, and it'll never be completed. We'll never know. It'll just always go on and on and on. That's what's so cool about it. One of the things I want to say, and it's a Trout Unlimited in the Royal and Ancient Order of the Trout Fishermen, is there's nobody more loyal than you guys. You've been there when the economy's down, where others would bail. You guys do not bail. You've never faltered on your reservations. You've never faltered on your numbers, ever. Through thick and thin, you're there. You're there.
Right.
And that's so important to me.
Right.
That's so important. And then the terrific land management team at MSU are just outstanding. Chuck, Michelle, Ben, Brenda, Renee, Nicole, they're all wonderful there, and then the Stranahan family are wonderful, Bell family. I've been doing it for Michigan State University, February 10th, 1981. So we're going on 33 years. 33 years. Yeah. I like being very close to it. I love it here. This is where it's at. It's just paradise to me. This and golden retriever and a couple of select friends and just Wawasam is my main focus. I've gone south. I've gone down North Carolina a few times, and yeah, but I don't need to. No, I just need a little regrouping time from my guest once in a while, but not much. Really. Just a little downtime. But not much. But I like to share it. Like people think I should post the place and just patrol it and all that. No. Share it. I love sharing.
Yeah.
I love sharing, and I love people, and I love my guests. I love my guests so much. They're like an extended family. The people are wonderful for the most part. If they're difficult, I laugh. I laugh and let that stuff roll off. I hope to work until at least 72, if not 75. But I don't know. There's no mandatory retirement, and that's the main thing. And I don't want to be bizarre about it, but the thing is, I hope to stay young, and just live my life out here. I just, because I love it. I literally love it. And I love the people, and no, this is heaven on earth to me. But as far as I hope I grow old, go in my sleep of a heart attack, and never